Our pal Chick Hernandez, who of course is calling the games on WSA 9, play-by-play voice for the Commanders. The next one is Sunday at 8 p.m., and of course you can watch them on WSA 9. It's Chick Hernandez. Hey, Chick.
All right, should I just bail out now because I'm not calling the third game?
Oh, you're not.
Oh, who's calling the third? Who's calling the third game?
The network, NBC, took the third game.
Oh,
wow. Is that like a new? Is that
Okay.
a new development, or you've known all along?
No. For the last 2 years, for some reason, I can see this year doing it. There's a lot of buzz around the squad, but last year they did it with nobody coaching and all that crap, and they still did it. So, no, for the 2 straight years they've taken one game from
Okay.
us. But I had a great time the first 2 games.
You guys did a great job.
Yeah.
You and B. Mitch were having fun. You guys were goofing around. And it was
Really good, really enjoyable.
You're goofing on CJ in the booth.
Let me just say this: from my office here in Silver Spring, Maryland, I might be closer to the field in Miami than I was in that press box.
Is that right?
The corner.
Not far
Oh
away.
my Lord!
That's how bad it was.
Good Lord! Yeah, it was also a lot of fun. I like hanging out with B. Mitch, and it's dangerous for the liver and the mind, but it's fun.
Right. Well, that's for sure. All right. So, what's your initial impressions so far on Jayden? He's the talk of the camp. We've been hyping him up, obviously. He's kind of blowing me away. I think he checks all the boxes. The only concern I have is the pre-draft concerns is the size and durability.
Right.
I love everything I see so far. These guys are telling me I haven't seen anything yet because he's barely thrown, and that's true too. But I think when you factor in the reports, I don't know. It seems to check all the boxes to me. What are you seeing?
Let me ask you, how many quarterbacks do you think I've covered for this franchise? Give me a number.
Oh,
45.
Yeah, it's up there.
Jeez, 45. Do you think I'm 70 years old? Yeah, 34.
Right.
34. So you're close. Look, we have not seen all of Jayden. We haven't seen nearly the tip of the iceberg with this offense because they ran other people's offenses for the most part. They told us that in the meetings that they weren't going to show anything and they were going to just go ahead and try to use some schemes from other teams because that's what Joe Witt loves to do. That's what Cliff Kingsbury loves to do. So we have not seen the real version. You can look back in college and see what he's capable of. But I know Coach, has talked about it. Just the makeup of the human is just, it's just a different cat. I said to Coach yesterday, we did a one-on-one with him that's going to air today. I said, look, this franchise has had some high-caliber quarterbacks, some who were more impressed with themselves, their own brand, than playing the game of football. And he didn't flinch. He just looked at me, and then I said, this is not that dude, this dude in this building. And, it goes back to the work ethic. That's number one is the work ethic. We all hear the stories of him being in the building. He's been in the building earliest, first guy in since he arrived. Even on a day off, Dan Quinn gets a report, hey, your quarterback's here, right? Working on stuff in the bubble. So the work ethic is unquestionable. He's not resting on any laurels. And then you just look at the physical skills and how much he loves the game, which is that I heard you guys talking about it. The issue is going to be for him is protecting himself because he loves the game so much and wants that extra yard, and that's going to be. I think that could be an issue. I know that people around here are gun shy because we've seen. I mean, look at the horrific injuries we've seen in these quarterbacks that wear the burgundy and gold, and we're worried about that. And as a sportscaster, I'm supposed to be objective. Yeah, I'm worried about it. I want to see this kid do really, really well. I want to see this franchise turn around because the decades of darkness, I've had enough.
I like that, decades of darkness.
That's what it is. That's what it's been.
We had Coach Quinn on the show earlier, and we asked him about wide receiver, and he's talked a lot about wide receiver. How do you see it?
Well, they carried, I think, 6 or 7 last year, and they got 12 right now on the roster. So I don't think there's a clear-cut 2, and I don't think that those guys worry about that. They've got Terry McLaurin, right? We know that's going to happen. They got De'Ami Brown. We know that's going to happen. And then what? I don't know how they're feeling. I'm not inside those meeting rooms. I know that at some point, if you look at Jahan Dotson, guy gets open but hasn't made the catches on a consistent basis. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Davion Davis got a lot of play last week. He's a guy who I'm like, who's this guy? But he got a lot of play, and they were looking at him. So I just don't know. What I do know is that all of those guys work well together. And watching them practice, I mean, I know Coach Quinn talked about it. It's the camaraderie is not the right word. They're just different. This team is different when it comes to wanting each other to do well, and guys who know they're not going to make the squad, and guys who know they're going to make the squad are rooting for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that wide receiver room, I think it's up to Cliff Kingsbury how he's going to use them. And for damn sure, you're going to see Eckler involved in that. McCaffrey will be involved in that. Out of the backfield for Eckler, and maybe they're really taking a long look at Kaz Allen.
Mm-hmm. What about Bryant coming in? It was kind of a big story since he hadn't played in the league in 6 years, and then but he's got size, and so I know we did a couple segments on him. Why are they bringing in Bryant? Why? Okay, and Quinn says he needs a big receiver, but why did they wait so long to bring him in? We thought, okay, let's push some competition up there and make Dots think a little bit. That's why we're bringing Bryant in, but Bryant barely played in the preseason, and it's not like he's putting up numbers. Do you think he's even going to make the team?
Well, he did play some specials as well, but no, at the wideout position didn't get a whole lot of run. I think that's Dan Quinn. That's part of his makeup. He watched, Bryant last year on Dallas's practice squad.
Right. Yeah.
And while he won't say he's sending a message, I think it's a clear message to any receiver to see a guy who's 6'4" and got tremendous wingspan. When he walks into a locker room or walks into a field, you're like, okay, wait a minute, this guy, and those guys don't know. I don't think those guys immediately knew that Martavis hadn't played in 6 years in the NFL. He's played in other leagues, obviously. But I think that was a message. And to Quinn's credit, he's like, look, I don't count anybody out. Like, when Martavis got in trouble, weed was illegal. And now guess what? It's not.
That's right. That's right.
So, right?
Yep.
So this is a guy who showed a lot to Dan in practice. I mean, he was sending his defense against Martavis Bryant, and he was doing things on that practice squad. So I credit Dan and say, you know what? As he said, let's give the guy a shot, see what he's got. I mean, he was 230 last year, he told us, and now down to 209. So this guy's in shape. You take a flyer and you never count nobody out. That's what Dan does, I believe. They're just looking for the right combo, and you're gonna have to, when what's his name, Daniels gets out of the pocket, and the play is broken up. Well, who do you look for? You look for a big fella who can go up and get it, and that's what he can do. I don't know ultimately what's going to happen here. That's the joy of all of this. These guys meet every single day.
Yeah.
Every post-practice, they go over it. Mm-hmm. Peters, scouting staff, coaches, position coaches, every single day, post-practice, they go over it.
It's funny because I've been mentioning this the last couple of days. When Quinn was hired, we were led to believe by others, not in the organization, by others that, Ben Johnson was the top choice. He spurned him, and Quinn was their second choice. That's why they interviewed him 100 times or whatever.
Right.
I don't know if I believe any of that, but what I do believe, and so I was a little up in the air on it. I didn't know. I liked, the success he had with Atlanta, and obviously the success as a D coordinator. But I didn't know what I felt. Right now, I couldn't be more thrilled with who he is as a head coach, the way he conducts himself, and I think the team embodies his energy. Right? They're a reflection of him. Like, I think the team of the last few years is kind of a reflection of Ron, kind of passive, lack of energy. You didn't know what you're getting week to week. I don't know, man. I can't think of a better coach for this team right now than Dan Quinn. That doesn't mean he's going to succeed, but on paper, I love it.
I'll give you this. So, we are going to, as we did last year, we will have, now it's going to be called Tell the Truth Monday, because that's what Dan wants to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to sit down with the coach every Monday. And in my number of years in this business, I've never, ever had a coach ask me, well, how do you want this thing to look? I want it to be good for both Channel 9 and the Commanders. And so literally yesterday, he took us into his office and looked at a space that might work there or a meeting room. We were stuck in the bubble last year, and we were at their mercy. Like, all right, when Rivera's ready, he'll come over, blah, blah, blah. And Dan Quinn is like, what do you think of these rooms? Okay, and this is not football, but this is the way this guy thinks. What do you think of these rooms? This aesthetic, and can we use video? Can we not use video? I'm like, and I'm sitting there going, I'm like pinching myself going, this can't be happening. Really can't. But what I want to see, and I agree with you, that the makeup of this squad and the way these guys react. Trace McSorley was there for a day, and the first thing he said was, that guy's got so much energy on the field. What I do want to see is that old Mike Tyson, when you get punched, how do you react? I have yet to see him. I'm sure it's been behind closed doors. I've yet to see Dan Quinn pissed off. I want to see that. I want to see what that looks like, because all I've seen is a guy who's trying to get the job done, pumping his players up, teaching, all of that. I want to see him pissed off once and see what that looks like. That's the only thing for me that's left in this thing. I want the guy to do well. I have told every fan that's ever asked, does it equate to wins? Don't know. What I do know is that I think you won't come away from a game going, what in the hell were they doing?
Right.
Right.
And we did that. We did that every week last year.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Correct. Like, going back to the Jim Zorn swinging gate days, for heaven's sake.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
I just want to know about. I thought I was going on here to talk about Lurch's Pebble Beach trip. I didn't quite.
Oh man, well you've been out there. It's heaven on earth, bro.
Okay, all right.
Place is amazing. The flight sucked, but I was lucky. I got there. I was lucky. So getting back to the coaching staff. So with Kingsbury,
yes,
I think there's going to be pretty balanced. I know that this past week against Miami was not, because they threw 48 passes and they only ran 22 times. But I think it's going to be more balanced. So give me your thoughts on the top two backs with Robinson and Eckler, and how you think Kingsbury is going to use those guys, and do you think that you're going to have a successful running game? It's tough to say because we don't know which guys are going to be healthy on the line, but based on what you're seeing, what do you think?
Well, here's and I rarely ever predict or make a call, but in just being at practice and having discussions with one Brian Robinson, the look in his eye right now is different than I saw. And look, he's a guy who was so misused last year, ridiculously. The whole running game was non-existent, and that wasn't Brian's fault. It was EB's fault. The coach, obviously. I know, not you. I know you were calling for something else. You're calling different places than Bieniemy was, for sure. I think that Kingsbury, that's part of them not showing a lot of stuff, is that you're going to see the way they use Eckler and B-Rob. Right now, they keep telling us, when one guy's gassed, the other guy can come in. That for me, that's kind of BS. I think you're going to see at some point a two-back set and confused defenses. They both now. B-Rob has been like, hey, you know what? I can catch a ball, and we've seen it in practice. So those guys in space, and B-Rob is a locomotive. He is running so angry right now that I think that you're going to see a lot of DBs making a business decision when it comes to going one-on-one with him. I think Cliff knows what he has. He's enjoyed his respite from head coaching and learned some things about himself. And he's got those two guys back there. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about how versatile they are. There's just so many different things they can do. I think we're going to definitely see a different offense than we've seen here in the last 5-10 years.
What do you think? How much are we going to see of Sennett? Because I know Ertz, if he's healthy, he looks like everyone's been hyping him up, and so that'd be amazing if he could stay healthy and do what he did a few years ago. But I can't wait to unwrap. He's like that gift on Christmas. I can't wait to unwrap Sennett, because when he catches it, man, he just turns up. He's different. He just he turns up field. He's got some speed to him, some power to him. He drags guys. I really want to see him utilized this year.
Well, and that's credit to the scouting staff. I think it's part of Adam Peters' makeup is to find a guy. No, it wasn't the biggest bell cow in college, but really, really, really good player. And you see the skill set there. And you saw it in one play, him drag people for 12 yards. after a nice catch. So no, I agree with you, and I think what's really cool about the way they set this up is Zach Ertz can play. He can also has been in the ear of Ben Sinnott, in the ear of Cole Turner, all those guys, and teaching them things they didn't know about the position. Marcus Mariota, 9 years as a quarterback in this league, who has really taken Jayden Daniels under his wing, knows what that kid went through. Both Heisman Trophy winners, both with a franchise supposed to be on their shoulders, and he can tell them about the pitfalls of all of that. They set this up well with who they brought in. Bobby Wagner. Come on, man. Bobby Wagner, really? The guy led the league in tackles last year. Everybody said he was too old. He led the league in tackles. He's not done. And they didn't play him at all during the preseason. He practiced. He went in the joint practices. Hasn't played because what do you do with a veteran like that? Shave his legs. He'll be fine.
Chick, always great talking to you. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Boys, thank you very much.